All right. Are we live? We are live, folks. Tonight we got a lot to talk about. Mainly, we finally elected a new Speaker of the House. I did not think it was possible. Who is Mike Johnson? Is he the guy we want? Is he a real conservative? Is he a fake? We're going to delve all into that. Some other news also to talk about tonight as well, including the fact that my liberal doppelganger, Victor Shi, a character we've not talked about for a while, is back to whining on the internet and a lot more. So stay tuned. And we are live tonight from the great state of Florida. Welcome everyone to the VinceDao show. I know there's no camera. Okay, give me a second. I'm putting the super chat link in. But it is October 25th, the year of our Lord 2023, and I'm your Galaxy Brain host, VinceDao. Lot to talk about tonight, folks, so I don't want to beat around the bush, but a couple housekeeping notes as usual, folks. If you would like to super chat tonight to support the show, feel free to do so. I will read super chats periodically throughout the night. Would obviously love to get your thoughts on Mike Johnson and all of that different stuff that's going on right now with the speaker race. We also got a Cenk Uygur interview to react to tonight. Now, he basically, long story short, he went on Piers and was just screaming. Okay? Now you're thinking, Vince, was he maybe it was a heated debate. You know, you get heated sometimes. No. He just goes on there and he's screaming at the screen. And it's a lot of content to watch. Okay, so we got a lot to talk about tonight. But folks, we obviously have to open tonight with the news that, ladies and gentlemen, I did not think it was possible. Many people doubted it. You guys know I've been very pessimistic about it the past few days, so I'm not going to pretend as if I saw this coming. But as of this afternoon, the United States, at the hands of the House Republicans, have actually elected a new Speaker of the House. Now, folks, of course, as I've been warning you the past few days, you had to be very careful about this. Because when you saw Jim Jordan get eliminated from the race, when you saw the neocons play a bunch of different games, you know, they tried to put Tom Emmer up there, who is a total rhino. They tried to make Patrick McHenry, who is the interim speaker, the permanent speaker. And so the last few days, I've not been optimistic about this. I've had the feeling that they're going to play a bunch of neocon games here. And as of today, I should say, but as of today, U.S. Representative Mike Johnson from Louisiana has been voted in by Speaker. No one's going to remember this, and we'll be fine going into 2024. But if we get a neocon, or if this takes forever, which I was really fearful of, then we're going to be screwed. So with that said, I think the question then is important and relevant, and I'm sure you guys are all asking this too, considering I don't think anyone's heard of Mike Johnson. Who exactly is Mike Johnson? Well, the first source I consulted earlier today was CNN, okay? And you might be saying, Vince, why did you consult that? Because I think, a lot of people in conservative politics have their agendas, okay? So I understood that. So that's why I actually went immediately to CNN, because I said, okay, if CNN is calling the guy a racist, homophobe, insurrectionist Trump supporter, then I know we have a good speaker. Okay, we're back. It was Victor Shi. He was going through, he was cutting the cables to my internet. I literally had to say, get off my lawn, hooligan. Okay, I had to go chase him off, but the stream is back. Okay, as I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by our good friend here, Victor Shi. Rumor has it, if you send in enough super chats, Victor Shi will disappear. I've just heard about that. He'll disappear from screwing around with the stream. But anyways, I mean, screwing around the stream, of course, okay, YouTube? I'm not talking about, okay, whatever. It's self-explanatory, but I always have to do this for the freaking guidelines, okay? That's not what I mean, YouTube. It's a joke. Okay, anyways, as I was saying, All right, so who is this Mike Johnson guy? Who is our new Speaker of the House who basically came out of nowhere, okay? Well, Mike Johnson has voted against every Ukraine aid package since the first one and has received an F grade from the pro-Ukraine scorecard. Well, you certainly like to hear that, right? That was, and honestly, I still don't know what's going to happen, but that was obviously one of my biggest qualms with McCarthy, among other things, is that he just is reckless about giving foreign aid to basically everywhere around the world. Excuse me, that is obviously not Mike Johnson in any way. He signed on to Ken Paxton's Texas v. Pennsylvania and voted to object to the 2020 election results and urged every other House Republican to do so. You certainly understand why CNN is referring to him as an insurrectionist. He's aided Trump's legal counsel in both impeachment trials, so he is a big Trump guy, got the big, definitely got the Trump endorsement. By the way, one thing I should note also, this guy got into Congress in 2016, okay? So that's another aspect of this. He is a guy who came in with the Trump wave. This is not some old fossil from the Tea Party like Kevin McCarthy was. This is certainly not some much older fossil from the George Bush era or even before that. This is a guy who literally came into Congress around the same time as people like Matt Gaetz and others. Okay, this is our wave of Congress. In many ways, this marks a significant landmark in our takeover of the GOP. I'm not saying we're done on that front, but when you consider the fact that, we now have a speaker who actually got elected in 2016 and has not been in Congress since before Trump was president, that's a very good sign, right? He also called for Nancy Pelosi to be arrested. Now, hey, okay, he voted for a de facto immigration moratorium, so he's very strong on the immigration issue, by the way, too. That's obviously something else that's very important, and has a career A grade from Numbers USA. He introduced the Stop Sexualization of Children Act to combat alphabet extremism. He supports prayer in public schools and still opposes quote-unquote gay marriage. As you can tell, very conservative. We love to see it. Is outwardly opposed by Bill Kristol, Adam Kinzinger, and Mitt Romney. Folks, I think it is safe to say, again, hold your horses. I'm not saying he's going to be a perfect speaker. I'm not saying he's going to do everything right. But when you compare this record to the record of Kevin McCarthy, I think we can pretty objectively say we got an upgrade as speaker, okay? And, like I said, I don't know how he's actually going to govern. And so don't come to me the moment he does something slightly disappointing and say, Vince, it was all pointless. I have a narrow view of politics and everything is just right in front. You know what I mean? No. Okay. I'm not saying he's going to be a perfect speaker. I don't know how he's going to be a speaker. Okay. But what I am saying is that I think it is a pretty safe bet to say he's going to be a upgrade from Kevin McCarthy. And frankly, much else could you ask for? That's exactly what we asked for. That's what I asked for, right? I did not say that we need to make Matt Gaetz or some, close to perfect Republican as the speaker. I just said I want a significant upgrade in the right direction from McCarthy, who at the same time the party can get behind, which Mike Johnson did manage to unite the party, which is obviously something that, even if you don't like it, is technically necessary to get a speaker, right? So I think in all regards, like I said, I think we got a pretty good speaker here. Now, to further corroborate that, I guess, I look at some stuff like this. All right, I look at some stuff like this. So first and foremost, the promises he has made already, according to, this is reported by Nick Sortor, who points out Mike Johnson obviously has officially been elected. Mike has already pledged, first of all, to fulfill one of the broken promises of Kevin McCarthy, which is to release the January 6th footage. If you remember, Kevin McCarthy promised he was going to release that footage and then only sent it to Tucker Carlson. And then the promise was to release it to the public, and then he did not do that. Well, Mike has already promised to follow up on one of McCarthy's broken promises and says, no, I will release it to the public. And this is probably the most important thing here. He has promised to kill the omnibus spending bills. These are, of course, the bills, I think, in many ways that are destroying our entire country, where they'll pass a budget or, you know, something like infrastructure or whatever, and they'll, I think it's called log jamming or whatever, they'll throw in a bunch of other crazy nonsense that has nothing to do with it, and then, you know, say, oh, that's the budget. Oh, you don't want to give like $2 million to this random diversity, equity, inclusion art project? You don't want to throw this to Ukraine? Are you for shutting down the government? Right? This is what they say. Are you against infrastructure or something? And it's like, no, you're throwing in a bunch of stupid crap in the name of passing this one thing that we don't need. Everyone knows the story with omnibus spending. This is a big reason why our national debt and our economy is in so much trouble. It's also just a bunch of crap, right? You should have single issue bills. Representatives should be voting on bills that they actually are able to sit down, read, and understand. Okay, that's just basically common sense here. And so, you know, the fact that, and by the way, let me point out, this is a big reason why Kevin McCarthy was ousted, because Kevin McCarthy promised that he was going to not make these types of spending deals with the Democrats. He goes and makes a spending deal with the Democrats, and then Matt Gaetz says, okay, well, you're out because you broke the, you promised that you were not going to do this, and you went and did this. And, you know, the new speaker, like I said, you got to see how he's going to govern, obviously. I'm not saying to put blind faith in the guy, but when you consider he has a very solid past record as a conservative and is making promises like this, again, I'm not saying he's going to be a perfect speaker. I don't know, you know, but, and by the way, actually, I'll say that in a second. Let's keep going here just to explain. And just another thing that hopefully maybe improves your opinion on the guy, right? It seems to me that Mike Johnson is a pretty devout man of faith. Now, you never know with these politicians, obviously, but, you know, I think at least even the fact that he's invoking it in U.S. Congress is not something that's been done for a long time, and, you know, I think is a positive cultural step for faith in this country and stuff like that. Here he is when he was accepting his speakership today.
Just to take good care of it. I want to tell all my colleagues here what I told the Republicans in that room last night. I don't believe there are any coincidences in a matter like this. I believe that Scripture, the Bible, is very clear that God is the one that raises up those in authority. He raised up each of you, all of us. And I believe that God has ordained and allowed each one of us to be brought here for this specific moment in this time. This is my belief. I believe that each one of us has a huge responsibility today to use the gifts that God has given us to serve the extraordinary people of this great country, and they deserve it. And just to take.
So, I mean, again, like I said, you never know with these politicians, but from everything I am able to gather, I think this is someone who is on our side and who at the very least has good intentions. Now, with that said, I do want to say this because I don't want people to come back in a few weeks or a few months and say, Vince, you were wrong about this guy. No, this or that. Okay. I will say this, is that I think everyone needs to be understanding that Mike Johnson now as Speaker of the House is going to be in a very difficult position politically and just everywhere, right? It's probably the hardest job, arguably, in the U.S. government that's not the president, okay? Okay. Okay, as I was saying, okay? Here goes Victor Shi again with the internet. Okay, as I was saying, he's going to be in a very difficult position, and the point I was making is, it is one thing if he completely betrays all of the promises he's made today, and obviously that's real cause for concern if he does. But at the same time, I don't think we should be the kind of childish characters who sell on him at the first sign of disappointment. Oh, he did this that I don't really like. Oh, but, that was a little bit disappointing. And then immediately, this entire thing was a waste of time. This is useless. This guy sucks. Get him out. Like, that's not a healthy view of politics, I don't think. I think we need to be measured about this and understand that I think it's objectively going to be true. We have a pretty significant upgrade here from McCarthy. I think the guy, his heart's in the right place. He has good intentions. And, in politics, if you go from a bad thing to a good thing, or a not so good thing to a slightly better thing, That is a net upgrade and a thing that is ultimately good for the country. I think Mike Johnson will be a good thing for the country, and I'm glad he's the speaker. I think he's going to be very good. At least relatively speaking, he's going to be very good in perspective of everything else you consider that you're used to here from the U.S. government. And objectively, when it comes to Republican House or Senate leadership, this is undeniable. He's the best conservative who's represented us in at least 20 to 30 years. At least. You know, maybe going back further than that. So again, folks, I know people are going to come to me saying, oh, but he did this. Oh, but Vince, they're probably going to give a funding package to Israel, which you warned about. Again, what I'm saying is have some perspective here, okay? Have a little bit of perspective, all right? Give the guy a chance. Have some patience about the guy. And by the way, I think Matt Gaetz is pretty vindicated. I don't see how you can say that he wasn't here, right? Everyone said, oh, it was a dumb move. I get your grievance, but, you know, this was a big waste of time, all this stuff. Well, as I kind of laid out here, again, as I showed the voting record and I showed the things he's promising to do, killing omnibus spending, you know, releasing the January 6th footage and all that stuff, I don't know if he intended it to go this way or not, right? Because it was pretty last minute. You know, I compared it in the video today to the Money in the Bank contract in WWE, right? They're having this world championship fight, and it's like Tom Emmer and Jim Jordan, and there's a fatal four-way, right? And yesterday, Tom Emmer, he wins, he grabs the belt, he's all exhausted, and then Mike Johnson comes out, oh my God, he's cashing in the Money in the Bank contract! And then 1, 2, 3 hits him with the finisher, okay? So I don't know if Matt Gaetz planned all of this, okay? 5D chess, whatever. But objectively, in the end, I don't know how you could not say, again, he was vindicated. We have a much better speaker. This took a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but it didn't drag on for several months. By the time 2024 is around, everyone's going to forget that Kevin McCarthy was ever a thing. And I think going forward, so long as we can do a decent job of both governing and fundraising and campaigning, then, you know, I think the party's in good shape. I think we have a good leader here. Trump is on board with it, which is a very good thing considering he's going to be the Republican nominee. If he wins, obviously that's going to matter a whole lot. So, you know, all things considered, I think it was a good day. To quote the famous poet and American literature writer, Ice Cube, right? I think it was a good day, truly. So let me know what you guys think. I'm going to read the super chats here in a second. But one last thing. Okay, one last thing I did want to point out here. If you've been a little bit doubtful about what I'm saying, all right, and frankly, all day, I've been a little bit doubtful about what I'm saying because I hear the voices in my head. Vince, politicians are politicians. We wanted Jim Jordan. If he made a deal with the neocons, then how can he be that good of a speaker? Oops. See, Victor Shi did it again. But anyways, Victor Shi gives me reassurance because, folks, my evil liberal twin, who, if you guys are unfamiliar, if you're new to the channel, Victor Shi basically is my evil twin. He is liberal Vince Dao. He even has a similar name to me, okay? Vince Dao, 3-letter word. Victor Shi, 3-letter word. And ironically, I go to UF, University of Florida, which is one of the top public universities on the East Coast. He goes to UCLA, which is one of the top public universities on the West Coast. Okay, so he literally is the anti-me. Okay, he's the anti-Vince. But anyways, if we had our doubts, folks, let's check in on Victor Shi's reaction to the new Speaker of the House. He says, I can't begin to describe how disturbing and chilling it is to have just, by the way, this is a man using these words. You're a college student like me, but technically you're a grown man using the words disturbing and chilling. Oh my gosh, they elected a Speaker of the House. This is disturbing and chilling to me. Okay. It is to just have witnessed a full-blown autocratic and fascistic takeover of Congress, with every Republican voting for an election denier and insurrectionist. The only option we have is to vote them all out. Period. Now, of course, there's a normal way to use the word period. You know, I know it's kind of a thing, but understand when Victor Shi says period, he really means period with a T at the end. He means the Zoomer girl, period, sis. So that's what he's saying here. So I think when you take a look at a reaction like this, we can 100% conclude, and the fact that the moment I'm talking about it, he goes and is messing with my internet again, that I think it's pretty clear Victor Shi is this disturbed and chilled by Mike Johnson. You know, he was sitting in class today at UCLA, and he was literally shaking. This was him. All right, this was him in class, at his poli-sci class at UCLA. And the professor was like, "Excuse me, Victor Shi, he, him, his." You have to say that at UCLA. "Are you okay? He, him, his?" And he's like, Professor, they elected Mike Johnson." And the professor was like, okay, they evacuated the classroom. They all went to the, I don't know, do they have those like cry spaces at UCLA? They probably do. Okay. And this is what happened. This is a real account of what happened. So, with that said, point being, I think we have a pretty good Speaker of the House. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me get here to the super chats, and then we will move on from this speaker talk. I'm sure we're going to have a lot to say about it in the coming days. But for now, like I said, I think the record shows he's pretty solid on the issues. And then what he said going forward, you know, I think it'll be an upgrade. But anyways, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let us get here to our super chat. Sam Madsen for $2 says, Victor Dow did 1025. Are you combining us now? We have like a fusion. That's what an evil mad scientist will do, actually. He'll like create a clone that's both of us, and he's just the biggest centrist you've ever seen. Could you imagine that? That's what we're missing. We're missing a centrist Asian. Okay, so we have like the libtard Asian, we have the conservative Asian. We need the like Victor Shi Vince Dow fusion, where it's just a centrist, and and instead of saying I am disturbed and chilled, middle ground Victor Dow says, I am apathetic. I am apathetic and oops, didn't mean to do that. I am apathetic and lukewarm towards the Republican Party's selection today. I hope he does things that are good for America. Okay, so this is what's gonna happen. All right, he's waiting. He's in the lab. He's in the lab right now at UCLA. Okay, Victor Dow, and he's gonna crawl out like the I-Rex in Jurassic World and terrorize everyone with his centrist fence-sitting takes. This is real. Sam Nwing for $20, thank you very much, says, it's a great day. God bless America, and God bless you, Vince. God bless you too, Sam. Thank you for the 20. Appreciate it very much. And yeah, I think it's a great day. Obviously, time will tell. You know, with politicians, any politicians, I think you have to set yourself up to be disappointed. Which is why I also said, you know, don't expect this guy to like abolish Joe Bidenism overnight, but like I said, I think we're moving in the right direction here, and that's how politics works. At least representative politics, quote unquote democratic politics. Burgundy Blue for 5 says, so this guy ain't a neocon, eh? Let's see what this is. I mean, like I said, I know exactly what this is. And I brought that up. I know people are gonna say that. They're gonna say, oh, well, he's probably gonna help out Israel in the war, so that's not America first. That makes him automatically a neocon. And it's like, yeah, am I happy about that? No. Do I want to not? Have I been very vocal that I don't think we should be involved in this war? Of course I have been. But again, it's like, that's one issue. Here's all the other issues that he's significantly better than. Okay. Every stream we talk about Victor. Every single stream we talk about Victor Shi, okay? He dishonor me. Victor, you dishonor me, okay? He just goes, he cuts the wires, okay? He takes his freaking samurai sword and just, haha, I cut your wire, Dao. We're going to have a figurative kung fu movie showdown at some point, okay? All right. It will be like the Bruce Lee. Okay, as I was saying, okay? It's gonna be like Bruce Lee and the bad guy in the ice factory. Okay, that's exactly what's gonna happen. All right? This cannot go unsettled. All right? So joking, of course, YouTube. So this is real. Anyways, before we were getting rudely interrupted here, I think we had a $5 super chat from Christopher, who says, I love how he says autocracy is a bad thing. Typical cringe supporter for democracy. All right, some of you guys would have missed, you may be able to see it on the replay. I don't even know how that works, but you missed a very hysterical... Basically, when the stream just went down now for like the third time in 10 seconds, I like freaking... I don't know. You might see it on the replay. That was quite funny. Anyways, but while we are alive, because Victor, she is not sabotaging the internet this current second, let me move on here, folks, to talking about... Actually got a $2 super chat here. Ezekiel for 2, let me read this really quickly, says, you should try to go on Fresh and Fit or whatever. Thank you for the 2. People have been saying this forever. I mean, I would be down. I mean, I think that'd be a lot of fun, but I don't have contacts. I don't have contacts to either place, so I don't know. Go in their live chat, put in a good word for me. Fresh and Fit would be easier because, you know, it's closer to me. It's in Florida, but you know, either I think would be a lot of fun. Anyways, with that said, all right, while Victor, she is not sabotaging the internet. In fact, the internet sabotage may stop because we're not talking about him anymore. Okay, Victor, you win this time. Okay, we meet next time, and we're gonna meet next time in the ice factory. Okay, but anyways, so Cenk Uygur, all right, switching gears of impressions here. Cenk Uygur, the guy's reasonable, and by the way, I should add, presidential candidate. Cenk Uygur, let us not forget that he actually is announcing for president here. Went on Piers Morgan recently to talk about the Israel-Hamas war. Now, you may say, why does that really matter? Is that all that interesting? I mean, frankly, it's not. But I do have to highlight the fact that for some reason, Cenk Uygur goes on this interview and just starts screaming for no reason. Okay? So let's just take a listen to this, all right? I mean, I'll react to the things he's saying, but I think the funniest aspect of this is actually just the fact that he just goes on for no reason. Piers is totally calm in the interview and just starts shouting, okay? It's kind of funny and kind of disturbing at the same time. Let's take a listen. Here's Cenk Uygur and Piers Morgan!
Channel, the Young Turks, right. Democratic presidential hopeful. That's Cenk Uygur. Cenk, great to have you on the program. Thank you very much indeed for joining me. I've been following your tweets with interest this week. You've been getting increasingly angry, I think it'd be fair to say. You said, I'm now enormously frustrated by US and Israeli government's barbaric acts in Gaza. I will not be shy in sharing that opinion on Piers Morgan's show today. Why are you so frustrated?
Yeah. Well, honestly, I didn't expect the framing that you put on this segment, and it's framing like that. That's disgusting. So I don't see what this has anything to do with anti-Semitism. I formed Young Turks and TYT with 2 Jewish friends who are some of my friends growing up. We've known each other.
All right, so you're probably thinking, Vince, where's the screaming? Well, let's get to that.
Is saying that Palestinians, we can kill 3 times as many of them already.
It starts to go up.
Okay.
Netanyahu
and his barbaric government have not even started the entree of murder and death and mayhem they're about to do. And that's somehow okay, killing 3 times as many Palestinian civilians, let alone the occupation, which is bigotry by definition. We say that everyone in the world can defend themselves, can have their own state, can have sovereignty, except the Palestinians. And the reasoning behind that is the Palestinians are what? They're what? The idea is that they are savages and that Muslims are too violent and cannot control themselves, so they must be occupied for 56 brutal, disgusting years. So I've had
he says while he's on screen, not controlling himself.
Of the bigotry against Muslims and Palestinians, and I need you to speak out against that instead of covering every outrageous, atrocious action of the right-wing government of Israel and going, oh, it's anti-Semitism. No, and there is global anti-Semitism. There's anti-Semitism here in this country. 2 synagogues were shot up, Pittsburgh and in Southern California. We fight against that all the time. But then whenever Israel is criticized, people go, oh, no, it's anti-Semitism. No, there's real anti-Semitism. Instead of attacking that, all you guys ever do is hide behind the veil of anti-Semitism. Do you know why Palestinians might not like Israelis? Because they've been oppressed for 56 straight years.
I hear you. I hear you. And let me respond.
What's funny is that I agree with like half of what he's saying, right? I actually do. I genuinely do think that, especially in regards to, you know, the debate over Israeli politics, that the term anti-Semitism is abused and, you know, just overblown and, you know, is basically just thrown around to people who are trying to good faith criticize the politics or government of Israel or Netanyahu or whatever. So, like, even as a conservative, I kind of understand the point he's trying to make. On the flip side, what is he doing?
I'm not you guys.
This is a presidential candidate, by the way, guys. This guy thinks that he can run for he's running against Biden in the Democrat primary because he thinks he's reasonable, and people will resonate with this message. So just keep that in mind. This is a guy running for president.
I don't think I fit into any neat fit on this issue at all. B, I've actually covered this story.
And that's true. Mr. Easy says, hilarious statement by Cenk. Everyone has the right to sovereignty. Palestine deserves it, apparently, but the USA doesn't. Yeah, exactly, right?
I think more fairly than most people. I've had many pro-Palestinian voices I've given a huge platform for. They've been getting enormous audiences, from Bassem Youssef to others. And I've done that quite deliberately because I think these voices are important to be heard, including yours. I certainly wasn't accusing you, by the way, or your organization of anti-Semitism. I just think I have found it, as somebody who's always identified as liberal myself, I have found it very dispiriting to see people who call themselves liberals whose instant response, it seemed to me, to one of the worst terror attacks we've ever seen was to immediately side with the place where these attacks have been launched from. Now, I don't tar all Palestinians with the
they spelled his name wrong, by the way,
of being Hamas at all. And in fact, the sooner Hamas are out of there, the better for the Palestinian people and the world. But I just think the only human response you can have is, as you did, by the way, to your credit, is it was disgusting what happened on October the 7th. Now, the question then becomes, what is a proportionate response by Israel? Not just the terror attacks of
calves on their legs, so that if they are killings in the middle of Pakistan, we sent in special forces. Is it more dangerous than special forces? Of course. That's the point of special forces. Try to find the hostages. Does it look like Israel's trying to find the hostages? If I have a family member that's a hostage, I'm disgusted by what Netanyahu's doing now. How do you know they're not in the buildings you're dropping bombs on? How do you know they're not in the tunnels you're dropping bombs on? How do you know they're not in the hospitals you're dropping bombs on? So if you want the hostages rescued, every rational human being can agree this is not the way to do it. This is the way to do death and destruction for the sake of death and destruction. It's collective punishment. It's genocide against Palestinians, and the world has to speak out. So my way is not against Hamas. How would they prove they're against Hamas? Hamas ended all elections. Hamas ended democracy.
All right, Cenk Uygur clearly keeps just messing with the internet too much. But let's just play the end bit where he's screaming a little bit, and then we'll call it out.
Anybody.
Okay? We'll call it.
Please look into your hearts. Look and be the moral people that I know you can be. I've been to Passover dinners where you pray for your oppressors. Now, it breaks my heart, but I got to tell you, you got to pray for those you are oppressing.
Bro, he's about to cry.
And to say that you are not oppressing the Palestinians after brutalizing them for 56 long years, you're kidding yourself. And as a friend and an ally, I'm trying to get you to wake up and snap out of this trance. You cannot keep doing this. It is ruining your moral
is this guy on cocaine?
Cenk Uygur, thank you very much indeed for joining me. I greatly appreciate it. I'm sorry it was your first appearance on this program under these circumstances, but I...
Okay. Anyways, just wanted to play that because I just thought that was hilarious. Now, again, in fairness to Cenk, okay, because he is sort of like this... Because he is sort of this progressive, and I'm like an anti-establishment conservative, there are some things that the, like, hard left and hard right nowadays agree with on foreign policy. And so there's some points I thought he made there that are interesting. Now, I think some of them are a little bit simplistic. Like, I don't necessarily agree with all of it. But, you know, the point he makes about hostages, well, you know... Or how are you going to get the hostages out if you're bombing places where you know hostages could be pretty indiscriminately? I think that's a valid question. Now, I would say on the flip side, well, it's also complicated because how can you trust Hamas to give up the hostages, and then how are they going to take you seriously if you're just not attacking them at all? And so it's just very complicated, and that's why my verdict on this whole thing has always been that war is brutal, and this is why I want to keep America out of it, because I'd rather we not be the ones who have to deal with challenging nonsense like this, because there really is no right answer to something like that, truly. But anyways, his points aside, the real thing I want to highlight here is that this is a guy who is running for president. Okay, so keep that in mind. He's a presidential candidate. And he again claims that he's 1,000 times more likable than Biden, and he's going to resonate with people. And, you know, non-Democrats, I mean, the Democrats who don't really like Biden are all going to get behind him. And then here he is on TV. Literally, he looks like he's about to explode. Okay, he literally looks like he's about to explode. He's shaking. When he gets really angry, his face like contracts and expands, and it's actually quite disturbing to watch. Okay, it's a phenomenon. It's one of the 9 wonders of the world. The 9th wonder of the world is Cenk Uygur's face when he's literally like about to pop a blood vessel on the screen here. So, you know. What can we... I mean, it's Cenk. We shouldn't be surprised, but I'm just like, you go on Piers Morgan, one of the biggest TV shows on the world, and instead of presenting your ideas in a way that, you know, adds credibility to you, you just kind of look like a crazy person on, I don't know, some type of drug. And maybe that actually is the case. But anyways, with that said, folks, let's get on here to our super chat. Sorry we lost so many freaking viewers during the period of the internet not deciding it wanted to work. Okay, we had Cenk sabotaging it tonight. We had Victor Shi. Everyone's sabotaging the internet tonight. Okay, many in all such cases. Okay, but anyways, let's get here to our super chats. Christopher for $5 says, Cenk always makes the emotional grandstanding. He thinks it will make us think he cares, but we just laugh at his tears. No, exactly. You know, because he's not a type of person when he gets upset who you feel sympathetic to. You just laugh at him because he acts so ridiculous. And in fairness, he acts ridiculous all the time, but especially when he's like this, he doesn't draw sympathy like, oh, he cares about the dead kids, oh, you know, in Palestine. In fact, I'm looking at this in a very serious issue, and I'm actually just kind of laughing at him. I'm giggling because he's, like I said, this is the face he makes. Palestine, I'm reasonable. It's so easy. It's so easy to meme. Okay, it's so easy to make fun of, and I don't know if Steven Crowder still does the Cenk bit, but that was amazing back in the day because he's one of the easiest characters to make comedy out of, you know, frankly. But anyways, folks, someone in chat was saying that they edited my Wikipedia article. Let's see. There's a Vince Dow article on Wikipedia, and I made it say Vince Dow is the GOAT. How did you manage to become an editor on Wikipedia? I thought that's like impossible these days. Okay, let's take a look. Take a look. Is this real? Is this real? All right, let me take a look here. All right, Vince Dow. By the way, I do have a Wikipedia page, by the way. Very flattering picture, too. Isn't this just such a great picture of me? Anyways. Let's see. Apparently, he called me the GOAT. I don't see it. I don't see it anywhere. I do see this like entire paragraph of leftist slander on me that they've done many times, but I don't. Where did you edit it? See, I think the edit has to be approved. I think it has to be approved by the other Wikipedia editors, and all the other Wikipedia editors are like rabid leftists. So I don't see it. I don't see what you're saying. Check view history. Okay, check view history. Okay, let's see. Where's the history here? Okay, view history. Is this it? By human what is this history? What am I even looking at here? I don't know how Wikipedia works. What is this? What is this? I'm very confused. 167? Okay. Where's the 160? Okay, so this one. Apparently they already got rid of it. That was very fast. But let's see. This IP address is currently blocked. The latest blog entry is provided below for reference. Blocks, yeah, I think you got blocked from Wikipedia. I think they actually sabotaged you for trying to edit my Wikipedia page here. Or unless, was it this one? This is an old revision. Oh, here it is. Okay, we got it. Okay, it says Vince Dow the GOAT, Vince Dow the GOAT, Vince Dow the GOAT. This is actually the real Wikipedia page. Okay, this is the factually true Wikipedia page. My real Wikipedia page is full of lies, so this is actually the real one. Okay, this right here. Thank you for this, Bloxy. Thank you for this. We need to commend you. Okay, so someone give Bloxy a membership if he's not a member already. Okay, this is valid. All right, Bloxy is our strongest soldier of the night. Okay, in fact, the strongest soldier of the month. Okay, we appreciate this very much. Okay, this is actually the real Wikipedia page. As it belongs, as it should be. Somebody removed it. I know, that was really fast. Look at this history. 058, 26, 058. They did it in the same minute. Okay? They did it in the same minute. But for one brief minute here, this was my Wikipedia page, and it is glorious. And it is true. Vince Dow the GOAT, Vince Dow the GOAT. Dow presently attends the University of Florida as an undergraduate student. So true. So true, guys. Okay, VW Bear for $2 says Cenk had too much bacon grease. No, literally, it was pulsating from his head vein. That's literally exactly what was happening. Yeah, someone give Bloxy a membership for real. He deserves it for this amazing work. Okay, for this amazing work. Go to the talk pages of your Wikipedia. They be slandering you. No, I have seen them. I know they are. I know they are. Okay. That's why I'm like, is it a good thing that I actually have a Wikipedia? I guess it is because there's credibility. But on the flip side, it's completely slanderous. Like, I don't know if it helps or hurts me. I guess it doesn't really matter. It's like they have a whole section trying to call me a white supremacist. And then the Vice News thing, which is arguably the biggest thing of my entire career, is one sentence. Okay? It's like, most people when they think of me, they think, oh, there's that guy who's on the Vice panel, blah, blah, blah. No, it's, he's a white supremacist. Because of, 2021 stuff. As an Asian. Okay? So this is apparently what the deal is. Okay. But anyways, Omar gifted 5 VinceDao memberships. Thank you very much, Omar. Appreciate. And by the way, this whole paragraph they're talking about comes from like one hit piece that was written on me about a year and a half, 2 years ago, by like a random blog. Not by the New York Times, not by some random blog that's called like Political Research Associates or something like that. And that's an entire half of my Wikipedia article. And then the Vice thing, which is, again, like I said, the most prominent thing of my career, probably most people would agree, is one sentence. Okay. So that's my Wikipedia page. But anyways. No such thing as an authentic conservative figure without a slanderous wiki article. No, that's true. And I'm not denying that. It's just like, and then the picture. Look at this picture. Look at that picture. Wow. That's the best picture ever taken of me. Frankly, that should be my profile picture. So real. Okay, anyways, let us read here. I think we've got a super chat. Sam Matson for $5 says, go look at the Wikipedia revision I just made on you. All right, let's take a look here. So now everyone is editing my Wikipedia page. All right, let's see. Let me refresh it. And then, what is it? View history. All right, let's see. View history. Is this, are you Panda Girl? Is that you? What does it say? I don't see it. I don't see it. What did he say? Is it this one? Are you joking? Are you trolling me, Sam Matson? You're like, oh, go look at the Wikipedia article edit I made, and there's no edit? Is that what you're doing? I don't see it. All right, tell me where to find it, because I don't see the difference. Unless, am I supposed to read this entire thing and find it? Because I don't see it. I don't see it. Okay. Anyways, like I said, I don't know where it is. They were calling you far right. I mean, of course they are. Vince, Scrappy says, a month ago, I edited the upper half of the page, and I defended you when someone called you a white nationalist. Thank you, Scrappy. I appreciate this. This is actually our hidden feud that a lot of people don't talk about, right? Everyone talks about Victor Shi and, like, I don't know, who else do we have beef with on the channel? Honestly, these days it's just Victor Shi. I mean, there's old people I don't care for, but this is the hidden feud. This is the hidden beef on the channel, is VinceDao versus the Wikipedia editors. Okay, it's so real. It's so real. So, all right. Anyways, with that said, folks, I mean, let me know in the live chat if anyone makes new edits to the Wikipedia page. But I did have one last thing I wanted to talk about tonight, and let's hope the Wikipedia editors do not cut off the internet. See, everyone's always messing with the internet. First it's Victor Shi, then it's Cenk Uygur, then it's the Wikipedia editors. All right, last story I wanted to talk about tonight, and then we'll move on here to our super chats. We haven't done this in a while. We haven't reacted to like culture war videos in a while, so let's get into that. Okay. So I saw this video going around on Twitter today where this Gen Z girl complains about having to work a 9-to-5. It basically says, how do people work 9-to-5 jobs? You know, I don't have time for stuff. I don't have time for life. This is miserable, all of this. And understandably, everyone was responding to this by saying that she is soft. Vince, your generation, Gen Z, is so soft. What's wrong with all you guys? But to be honest, I have a take on this that maybe, I don't know, is a little out there. Might get some disagreement. But I actually kind of think is the truth here. But first, let's take a listen to this video. Okay, here's this girl complaining about working her 9-to-5. Obviously fresh out of college, pretty young. Here you go.
I know I'm probably just being so dramatic and annoying, but this is my first job, like my first 9-to-5 job after college, and I'm in person, and I'm commuting in the city, and it takes me fucking forever to get there. There's no way I'm gonna be able to afford living in the city right now, so that's off the table. Like, fucking duh! If I was able to walk to work, and it'd be fine, but I'm not. So it literally takes me, like, I leave here, like, I get on the train at 7:30, and I don't get home till, like, 6:15 earliest, and then, like, I don't have time to do anything. I want to shower, eat my dinner, and go to sleep. I don't have time or energy to cook my dinner either. Like, I don't have energy to work out. Like, that's out the window. Like, I'm so upset. Oh my God. Nothing to do with my job at all, but just, like, the 9-to-5 schedule in general is crazy. Being in the office 9 to 5, like, if it was remote, you get off at 5 and you're home and everything's fine. But, like, I'm not home. It takes me long to get home, and, like people that drive to the office, like, you don't get off at 5, and I know it could be worse. I know I could be working longer, but, like, I literally get off, it's pitch black, like, I don't have energy. How do you have friends? Like, how do you have time to, like, meet, like, a guy? I don't know. Like, how do you have time for, like, dating? Like, I don't have time for anything, and I'm, like, so stressed out, and I'm also getting my period, so that's why I'm all emotional. But, like, am I so dramatic? It's fine.
All right. So, here's my thing on this video, okay? Understandably, conservative Twitter has been ripping into her all day, saying she's soft, what's wrong with this generation, they can't work a job, blah, 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 all this stuff. And look, all right, maybe I just have so much internalized sexism, quote unquote, that, you know, this is whatever. But I would react, I would have that same reaction if it was a guy making this video. Okay, if a guy went on and made a TikTok about how I can't work 9 to 5, it's so, then I would be like, okay, dude, get a grip, okay? Get your S together. What's wrong with you, okay? But the fact that it's a young girl who feels this way, who is saying she's miserable at her 9 to 5. It clearly doesn't make her happy. It clearly makes her, you know, very, very stressed, and I think there's something to be said about that. Okay? And frankly, I think that there's a lot of young women out there who feel this way, and probably older women who have gotten used to being workers and, you know, normal careerists and whatever, but maybe probably when they were younger felt the same exact way. To which I say, you know, there is something to be said that historically in this country, you know, women her age were not trying to build careers off of 9 to 5 jobs. They were looking to get married and find a man who would do that for him. Okay? You know, and at the same time, it's like, yeah, I get the conservative culture of dunking on stupid, emotional people. And don't get me wrong, she probably shouldn't be posting that on the internet or being as emotional as she is. And it's kind of an embarrassing look. But at the same time, I mean, that's how girls are sometimes, right? They can be silly and emotional, and oftentimes, as much as we make fun of it, I kind of find it endearing, right? I don't want women to be like men. I don't want women to think like men or act like men, right? So in many ways, I actually feel a great deal of sympathy for this woman. I know people be like, whoa. No, I actually think that the distress she feels is very real, okay? I think that deep down, you know, if she lived in a different time, she'd probably be, I mean, you know, she's not terrible looking. She'd probably be married to a decently good guy right now. He would be providing for her, and she would be at home, you know, raising kids, baking stuff, cooking, you know, being happy, having a lot more free time, you know, watching daytime TV, right? Like, she would live a much less stressful, frankly, probably for her, frankly, more fulfilling life, okay? And so genuinely, I may, and again, maybe I'm just so sexist that it's like, well, but I actually feel for her. I actually do. I actually like genuinely feel bad for her. Okay. And this is not to say that, you know, there are not a lot of women who just suck it up and do what they have to do. And I genuinely, I do have respect for that. Okay. Like my mother was a working mother. A lot of yours probably are too. I'm not saying I have anything against it. I'm just saying when I see women who clearly are unhappy with that lifestyle, and like I said, in a different time, wouldn't have to be subjected to the same things that us men are kind of made to deal with in society, right? Because like I said, men and women handle this stuff differently, right? Okay, the big corporations who want women to freeze their eggs were messing with the stream again. Okay, as I don't know where it cut off, but I think you get the general point I'm making here. Okay, and that's what's so funny about it is that we as the social conservatives on the gender stuff are so often called like sexist. You hate women. You guys genuinely see, like, I actually, like, feel bad for her, okay? But in order to feel bad for her, you have to have a worldview that suggests that men and women are meant for different things in society, have different roles, think differently, and process things like actually hard work and free time and leisure time and all that stuff differently too, right? You know, there's a reason that the pay gap and stuff exists, and why... You see, actually, you kind of even see this even in the modern workplace. You know, it's like men tend to really put their head down and they want to work all the time or whatever because we kind of find fulfillment from work. Whereas I don't think it's the same way from women, right? I think women more so find fulfillment in like connections and stuff like that, which is why they're happy when they're homemakers and raising. We're different creatures, right? We're different creatures. Hence why she should not have to be subjected to this. In a different time, she wouldn't have to be subjected to this. And, you know, I understand, again, a lot of conservatives will react to it and just say, she's soft, she's soft. I mean, isn't that what women are, though? Isn't that at least what you want them to be, right? Again, that's why I say it'd be totally different if there's a guy making a TikTok crying about this. If they were him, you'd say, shut up, you know, you're being an idiot. But when it's a girl, it's like, oh, she's soft. That's the number one thing I saw on conservative Twitter in response. She's soft. Okay, so what do you want? For women to be coarse? Aren't women supposed to be soft? Isn't that kind of a feminine trait that, yeah, they're naturally more sensitive and emotional? And again, like I said, I don't hate that, right? I don't hate it when women are like that. You know, that's consistent with their nature, you know? That's how they are. Again, what is the alternative? Do you want them to act like men? Conservatives, do you want her to act like a man? Yeah, put your head down, Stacey, and go work your 9 to 5 and freeze your eggs and work your way to be a CEO. Is that what you want? Because that's not what I want for her, right? I don't know. But, you know, you guys can let me know, obviously, what you think of that. I just thought that was interesting, okay? I thought it was very interesting the way different people were reacting to it, okay? Because for me, I react to it like, that's very unfortunate. Sorry to hear that. You know, you should try to find a husband that is, and which is hard these days too. People act like too, that's so easy. Oh, girl, just go find a husband. I mean, it's probably easier than it is for a guy to find a good wife these days, but still, you know, it's not like your average guy on the street understands his traditional masculine role of a marriage. So it's like, yeah, I mean, that's just why I say I genuinely I feel for her. My first instinct watching that video is not to ridicule her. It's not to shame her or put her down. It's to actually, you know, feel a pretty high degree of sympathy and wish that society didn't put her in the position where she's crying like this. So, you know, call me sexist all you want, but I actually don't like to see women in distress like that. Okay, so that's just how I feel. All right, with that said, folks, I'm done with my stories tonight, so let us get on here to our super chats. So, folks, we're now open to our super chats. Any questions, comments, anything you want Reddit answered on the stream, feel free to do so now. We'll probably do this till like 9:30 or something. And then let's take a look here. So, let's get on, folks, to our super chats. Where did we leave off here? Sam Matson for $2 says, they already deleted it. I said you created COVID. Well, thank you very much for that, Sam Matson. I appreciate it. What is this right here? What is this thing? Oh, it's the okay. Oh, it's the memberships. Okay. John A gifted 5 VinceDao memberships. I appreciate it very much, John A. Let's take a look at what else we got here in our super chats. Jaw Master for $5 says Vince has the objectively correct take here. Pretty women like her deserve to have a stay-at-home life and to have all her needs provided for. L conservatives. Exactly. Okay, okay, there you go. Exactly. Thank you for the $5, Jaw Master. And, you know, this is something I see not just in the conservative space, but like the, you know, the red pill space and stuff as well, where we kind of ridicule the idea of women having emotions and being sensitive, okay? Now, don't get me wrong. It goes both ways. Because there are women out there, too, who are, like, just so emotional that they're crazy. Or so sensitive they just can't handle the truth. And, like, I get all of that, okay? It's obviously, like a lot of things in life, there's kind of a balance to be had. But at the same time, you know, the idea that women will ever think in the same kind of like sociopathical logical way that men, you know, tend to think, the idea that that women are supposed to think like that in many ways is not true, right? The idea that women will just not be sensitive, like her, for instance, you know, or that they're meant to deal with the same amount of work or pressure or stress or whatever as men are. I like, as someone who believes the genders are different, I think that's wrong, you know? Which is why if I see a woman crying versus when I see a man crying, you have two fundamentally different reactions, right? If my girlfriend's crying, then, you know, I'll try to figure out what the situation is, obviously, but, you know, you also try to console her and understand that she is a woman. She's a silly girl, right? And that's how they are, right? So you're more understanding of that. If you see your guy friend crying, you slap him and tell him to stop crying. But there's a fundamentally different reaction because the genders are different, and you have to be understanding of that, right? And I think that very often in the conservative space, especially the red pill space, which, don't get me wrong, does address a lot of important conversations to be had about gender roles and gender differences and all of that stuff, very often ignore what real femininity is, right? What real femininity is. And then so, you know, we'll go and make fun of a girl like this who is crying and upset and like unhappy that she's having to deal with what is traditionally a masculine role in society. And our first reaction as conservatives is to dunk on her and make fun of her instead realizing like, that's actually a very sad thing to watch, right? It's actually not fun and not enjoyable. I get no joy in sitting there and laughing at her or dunking on her because I genuinely think that, you know, like I said, I have a different reaction if that was a man versus if that was a woman, and so, you know, that's how I feel. That's how I feel, you know. So you know, whatever, right? And then whatever. That's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it. Bloxy says they are supposed to be soft. Exactly. So why is the number one word that she's soft? Yeah, girls are soft. That's how they are. You know? And a lot of people, I guess, think that they want a girl who's hard. I'm going to use the word coarse because people are going to, you know, but and yeah, you get that image from movies and stuff where it's like there's a hot girl with a gun and she's fighting people, or this gamer girl, something like that. But I think in reality, what most men will come to find is that, like, deep down, that's not what you want. That's not what you want. Like, you don't want a girl who's your guy best friend. And it takes some guys time to learn that, but deep down, it's like, no, you actually do want a girl who's emotional and sensitive and has all the typical girly feminine traits, because you know, you don't want to date a man in a woman's body, you know. So you know what I mean. Anyways, Omar for 2 says found her TikTok is Briley Belly 123. Thank you for the $2, Omar. I mean, obviously don't harass her. I mean, I don't think our attitude tonight has been harassment of her. But, you know, what I would say is if you do want to go comment on her, tell her what we've said, right? Which is like, genuinely, we are sympathetic, okay? This is very bad. And this is also, but also throw in the red pill, right? This is the fault of society wanting to push this sort of careerism on women in the same way that men have done, right? So it's your fault. It's society's fault that you have to work a 9 to 5, and you shouldn't have to be like that, right? You should you should be able to live a life that's fulfilling to you as a woman, and have the time, the spare time, and the free time to do the things that you enjoy, because, you know, a man works to provide for you, and you don't have to do that same kind of hard work that men are naturally supposed to do. So, you know. Omar for 2 says chat wants to wife her, lol. I mean, you know, if I were to guess, she's probably like a liberal or whatever, but, you know, you can tell there's room there. So, you know, I don't exactly blame you, but, you know. At least she's sensitive. At least she's actually, you know, feminine and stuff. But anyways, I'm not interested, Omar, lol. I mean, yeah, you probably shouldn't be over random girls you see on TikTok, but, you know. It is what it is. But let's take a look here. Bloxy says, I can't get a link either. Vince is going to have to make a new one. Hopefully he appoints a mod so that he doesn't have to do it himself from now on. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Okay, anyways. Gianna says, so crying on the internet makes a woman feminine now. All right. Okay, in fairness, I did say she shouldn't be making the video, right? I did say that it's a bad look for her to be ranting about it on TikTok. But again, like that's just a product of the culture, you know? A lot of girls out there do that, and they don't see what's wrong with that, you know? So that's all. Like, even that, yeah, is it kind of attention seeking or whatever? Sure. But even that, like, I don't necessarily fault her or attack her for that. You know, it's like, I did criticize it, and I don't agree with it, but, you know, it's a Gen Z thing to do, okay? It's not just the fault of her. It's a general Gen Z thing, you know? You know, so that's how I feel about it. Dusty says, we love you, Vince. Keep up the great content. I appreciate it very much, Dusty. Crying on the internet makes one's weakness known in public. I agree. I agree. It's not something you should do. But, you know. Okay, are we back? Someone said the invite link expired. Okay, look at Discord. We love Discord, don't we? I literally just... Okay, here we go. Wow, I figured it out. All right, I'm about to post on the members tab an invite link that is supposed to never expire. So here you go. New Discord invite link. Put it on the members tab. All right. Okay, Bloxy. Apparently it's a permanent one that's supposed to never expire. So I finally figured out how to do something for once. We love to see it. Did you guys hear that? Did you guys? Oh wait, no. I thought you heard the video of, this is the neighborhood, and you are not welcome. That's why I need to. I should actually. I should prank friends by saying that, okay? But instead, I'll say, this is the neighborhood, which is why you are welcome. This is what we're gonna do. All right, folks. Last call for super chats. I'm gonna end here in a couple minutes to a couple seconds, but let us take a look here. See, if you've never seen your bro cry and he's crying now, let him cry. He needed to release some tension. I'm not gonna get into that whole debate right now, but generally speaking, I don't think men are supposed to cry. I don't think it's even a quote-unquote healthy way to release tension, especially not in public. I don't think men should cry in public. And I know what you're going to say, Vince, what about, like, your parents' funerals? I mean, yeah, that's an understandable place to cry in public. I'm not claiming at my parents' funeral I'm going to be totally stoic the whole time. But even generally speaking, I think, especially if you are now, like, the heir of the household, there's something to be said about portraying strength and stoicism in that moment, at least in public around your kids and stuff. And then, you know, if we need to cry privately, crying privately. But I'm not here to get into all that right now. Just the general point is that I generally don't think men should cry in public, you know, and that's the way I feel about it. So anyways, let's see. Any last super chats here? Someone says apparently there's witchcraft stuff on her TikTok. Well, what did you expect? I'm just... See, I said she's probably a liberal, right? She the thing is, though, she's lost. That's why I'm saying I feel bad for her, okay? And again, I said, like, I don't aspire to be the one to save her or whatever. But you see, that's actually actually vindicates what I'm saying. This is just a woman who's lost. She doesn't... She's like directionalist. You know, society, she's a victim of society. That's literally what she is. She's a victim of society. Hence why I feel so bad for her, right? Because in a different era, because clearly she still has like baseline feminine instincts, right? In a different era, she wouldn't be a miserable 9-to-5 careerist who's turning to witchcraft because she can't handle the stress of the modern world, you know? So I expected that too. I'm not surprised at all by that. That's not surprising, because when you look at her, you read her, clearly she's a victim of the times in so many ways. And so the whole like witchcraft trend with the crystals, I mean, that shouldn't be surprising either. You know? No, Mayo, I think you want to save her. I think you want to save her, you know? But yeah, it's true. She needs Jesus. She needs Jesus, and she needs to be in a time in society where he was more respected. You know? That's the way it is. All right, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we've got no other super chats. I will call it a night here. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. We will be live. Let's see. Honestly, I'll be out of town on Friday, so we might be live tomorrow instead. But be sure to join us then. Leave a like before you go. Let's get to 100 likes. And until next time, Alpha moves only. God bless. Have a very good night, and peace.